Hello, welcome back to the channel. And this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be talking about a relatively complex worker placement game. We're going to be talking about Dungeon Petz by Vlada Chvátil. And in this game you will be buying pets at a market, you'll be taking care of their needs, and then you'll be showing them off at an exhibition that will give you points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules. We'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Dungeon Petz is still worth playing about 10 or so years after it was first released. So remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below, hit the like button and all that shit. We'll see you after this. Bollocks! So, Dungeon Petz, how'd you play this game? So Dungeon Petz is sort of like a generic worker placement game, if you will, and it takes place over 6 phases. Essentially what you'll be doing, you'll be buying pets from a market, you will be dumping them in cages, and you'll be taking care of their needs through playing needs cards, and then you will enter your pets into an exhibition and you'll be trying to get points to win the game, right? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to reveal new information, which is going to be what the exhibitors are going to require from your pets, and also what certain customers are going to want from your pets if they decide to buy the pets at the end of each round. Yeah, you'll flip over the 2 new tiles and there'll always be information available for the next round, not just the round that you are partaking in at the moment. You'll remove all the gear and stuff from the board, like cages and artifacts, and you'll replace it with new stuff, and then you will get your income. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have a little bit of an auction. This will determine the starting player and therefore the player who gets first dibs on all the juicy shit out of the board, right? You'll take your imps and you'll place them in groups behind your player board, right? Once each player has decided how many imps they're going to put in each group, you will reveal all of the groups, and the player who has the biggest group of imps will go first. They'll pick their stuff first. So the first action that you can do is you can get food. There's 2 types of food available. There's meat and vegetables, and you'll take all of the meat and all vegetables from the space and you'll put them on the leftmost space of your burrow board, right? This is how you get grub for your pets. Next thing you can do is you can take some artifacts. You'll take the 2 face up artifacts from the blue tent and you'll place them on the artifact storage space on your burrow board, right? Next thing you could do is you could choose an add-on. There's always 2 add-ons available, but you can only pick 1. Next thing you could do is you can choose a cage. So we're going to be placing your pets. You have to send at least 2 imps to this space because cages are bloody heavy, and also some of the monsters can be a little bit ferocious, you know what I mean? Next thing you could do is you could buy a pet. You'll take a pet from the space, but you have to remember that the group that you use has to have at least 1 gold, because pets are bloody expensive to keep, aren't they? So next thing you could do is you can invite imps into your group. This is basically a way of getting more imps into your group. You'll take all the imps of your colour from the progress spot on the board. These will join the rest of your imps in the next round. So the next space you go to is the hospital space. You can either take a potion card here, or you can retrieve any imps from this space that didn't take precautions and got done over by your pets. Next thing you could do is you could volunteer to be a judge. What you'll do, you'll move your minion figure on the exhibition tent ahead to the space mark 2 if you occupy this space. Next space is the booking platform. You can send a group of imps into this space to boost your reputation points from selling pets. Basically, you will not get your imps back if you place them here. You have to wait for them to get booted off, right? So next thing you'll do, you'll deal with needs cards. You'll be able to arrange your pets in the cages and all that sort of stuff. Then you'll draw as many needs cards as determined by the markers on your little pet wheel things. You'll also always have 4 cards in your hand, so this will be a little bit of a boost to the amount of needs that you can take care of, right? And then you will assign the need cards to each pet. There's also the option of replacing a needs card with a potion card, because these imps can use magic, can't they? You know what I mean? So next thing you're going to do, phase 4, you're going to be showing off your pets, right? You'll reveal all of the needs cards that you assign to your pets, and you'll evaluate all the needs cards, right? So if your pet needs grub, you'll have to reveal a hunger card. You'll be able to spend 1 food token dependent on whether it's a carnivore or a herbivore. I don't think there's any vegan pets in the dungeon, right? Could be wrong, but Probably not. So if you assigned a poop need to your pet, then you'll add one manure cube to its cage. You can't clean out cages if there's a pet in there, right? Because you'd be stupid, wouldn't you? Just get your balls ripped off by trying to clean up a load of shit. Next thing you'll look at is the play needs. You can assign an imp to a cage that will play with a pet, and if you can't do that, then you'll have to add a suffering token to that pet. Next thing that you have to worry about is the anger needs of your pet. You will have to look at the strength of your cage and then also the number of anger needs cards that you've assigned to that pet. And if the anger need exceeds the strength of the cage, the pet will break free and escape. You can get away with this if you left some imps behind in your burrow, because they can be used to nick the pet, and if not, then you'll look at the anger cards that weren't accommodated by the strength of the cage, and you'll lose that many imps to the hospital, right? So the next one that you have to worry about is the magic needs. You'll compare the total number of magic needs you've assigned of a pet with the anti-magic of its cage. If this exceeds the cage's anti-magic, the pet mutates, and you'll have to place a mutation token on that pet, yeah, which makes them a little bit less attractive, a bit like going to Kingsley's. Next thing that you worry about is the disease needs. You'll have to place a number of disease cubes in the cage, depending on how many manure cubes you haven't cleaned up yet, because monsters don't like to live in their own shit. So once you have taken care of all the stuff that your little baby pets want, then you'll chuck them in to an exhibition, right? Basically what you do, you'll go through all of the symbols. There'll be two different types of exhibitions: a full display or a single pet. You'll look at what's in the light frame of the tile, and this is what the judges want, and in the dark frame this is what they don't want, yeah. And then the player who scored the most points in the exhibition will get the higher number of points, and then you'll gradually work your way down the list until somebody gets fuck all. So once you've taken care of all the needs cards and you move on to doing a little bit of business, this is where you'll be able to sell a pet to one of the customers, right? This is relatively simple. You'll look at the customer that's available for this round. You'll see the needs that they do want in the top light box, and in the dark box it's the needs that you don't want. So for instance, you look at this lovely lady. She wants 2 play needs, 1 food need. She doesn't want anger or disease, right? So you're going to have to take care of that as best you can. Once you've taken care of business, then you'll go on to the aging phase. This is where your pets will grow up. You will turn the dial on each pet to the next notch, and this will reveal more needs and potentially make them less valuable, right? You'll also worry about your food going off, because I don't think there were fridges in the era of Dungeon Petz, you know. There's loads of other little fiddly rules about mutations and different artifacts, the way they work when a pet dies and all that sort of stuff. We're not going to go into that because that would just make your brain turn into a grey puddle of poo. But basically you'll keep doing this until you get to the end of the last round, and the player with the most points will be the winner of Dungeon Petz. So what do we like about Dungeon Petz? So the first thing that we really like about this game is that the theme is unique, innit? There's not really anything else quite like this. It almost turns what is expected of this sort of thing on its head, because these monsters are dangerous, they're nasty, but there's something cute about them as well. So this sort of basically sticks 2 fingers up at some of the similar games that were quite popular at the time that this was made, like Castles of Burgundy, for instance. That is a dry, themeless Euro. This one has a sense of irony and is quite playful, but at the same time is a little bit disturbing as well. So we really like the way that Blood of Survival has constructed the theme of this one, yeah. So the next thing that we really like about this one is the way that an auction system determines player order. If you want to get first dibs on all the stuff, you're going to have to dump imps into one group, but when you go to place those imps out on the board, you might have played too many at once and there's none left to maybe take care of an escaped pet, all to mop up the mess that you're going to make when you're choosing your actions, yeah. So whilst going first might be advisable, you've got that conundrum of maybe keeping some imps back just in case things go wrong, and generally they do with this game, you know. So the final thing that we like about Dungeon Petz is the way that the game teases you with an advanced reveal of both the customer tiles and also the exhibition tiles. So you're always thinking ahead about how you can not only take care of the subsequent round, but also the round that is going to be scored right now. So you've always got to have one eye on the future, and this adds a quite nice layer of complexity to the game, because it tempts you into maybe looking a little bit too hard into the future. It's quite difficult to juggle those 2 facets of the game and craft them into a winning strategy, right? So what don't we like about Dungeon Petz? So the first thing that we don't like about Dungeon Petz is that the needs card system is slightly counterintuitive, isn't it? Because the pets that you've got are going to be allowing you to draw a certain category of needs cards, but then those same pets are going to have these needs cards assigned to them. When you're playing with new players, this is going to be a little bit confusing for them. It's a bit odd that you're getting these cards from your pets, but then you're also assigning them to other pets in order to take care of other pets' needs. So it's a little bit convoluted, and it is a little bit of a struggle to get your head around it when you first play this game, right? When you're playing with new players, there really isn't any room for any more of a mindfuck than there already is, you know. So the next thing that sort of leads on from the last thing that we were talking about is that this game might be a little bit too complex for its own good. The rule book, whilst it's pretty and it's laid out quite well, it maybe goes into a little bit more detail than is necessary. And this is a hallmark of quite a lot of the CGE Vlaada Chvátil games. Take a look at Galaxy Trucker, for instance, a very, very simple game that is made overly complex by the rulebook. And Space Alert is another one of these games where they just go into too much depth just for the sake of creating a little bit of comedy. And that is welcome. We do enjoy these sorts of things, but really Dungeon Petz could be sort of stripped back and explained away without having to go into like a 32-page rule book. Know what I mean? So the final thing that we don't like about Dungeon Petz is that the aesthetics of the game, they look pretty shit to me. I mean, it has got a sort of a nice way of standing out from the artwork, you know, in a sort of a three-dimensional way, like the tents sort of jump out of the board, but ultimately it looks like you're wearing a pair of those 1950s 3D specs. It's all muddy, it's all reds and greens, and I don't know, it doesn't look complete and utter dog shit, but it's not the clearest thing. And again, this is a hallmark of some of the other CGE games, like Alchemist, for instance. Very, very difficult to see the different portions of the board unless you are a veteran at these types of games. Yeah, so I don't like the artwork on the board, and it's just a bit of a mess, you know what I mean? So to summarise, is Dungeon Petz still worth picking up monster shit today and in the future? So we are going to say probably not. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a decent game of Dungeon Petz if you're playing with the right people. It's a quirky but somewhat pointless, overly complex game that thrives and survives on the strength of its theme, right? Some disastrous needs cards rules prevent this game from being great because it does add a layer of clunkiness to what would otherwise be a simple worker placement game. And as such, this is one game that doesn't hit the table as much as it probably should. So there you go, that's Dungeon Petz. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. Hit the like button and all that shit. I'll see you next time.